In the heart of the Metropolis Zone, Sonic and the other freedom fighters have arrived to investigate reports of a new type of badnik. Since their base in the Emerald Hill Zone was destroyed, they have been forced to disguise themselves as a travelling circus crew to avoid detection by the trooper patrols and the checkpoints between zones. Once they arrive, Porker activates some kind of security field around the caravan in order to protect it. Though what this security field isn't exactly explained. It doesn't really seem to be a cloaking device, so I can only assume that if anyone touches their stuff they'll get a bloody big zap. They consult the Kintobor computer, who has been reduced to nothing more than a simple laptop. He tells the others that he is definitely picking up a signal somewhere in the area, which could indicate the location of the badnik they're looking for. Everyone gets on their guard and starts looking around for any sign of their target, but it doesn't take long for them to find it, as moments later they turn around and see the badnik running towards them. And it's the most ridiculous thing they've ever seen. It looks like an absolute joke, as if Robotnik just slapped it together in a hurry from spare parts. It's like a crazy robotic clown thing, only far more silly. This new badnik is called Mr. Blobnik, an obvious reference to an old goofy TV character called Mr. Blobby, though the name is the only thing similar to that character. Because this new badnik is an absolute shambling mess, Sonic thinks he can finish it off quickly and have some fun in the process. He starts off by launching into a spin attack, though not with enough force to actually destroy the robot. Mr. Blobnik has trouble keeping up with Sonic, and because of this, Sonic just keeps on toying with him for a while. The scene shifts over to another part of the Metropolis Zone, to Robotnik's base of operations, simply known as Citadel Robotnik. It seems that it was Grimer who came up with this new badnik, and even Robotnik thinks it's absolutely ridiculous. Suddenly, a bright red light fills the room, and something similar to the Omni Viewer appears right next to them. It's the copied version of the viewer, which the Brotherhood of Metallix created after recently capturing the real one, though the real one was rescued by Knuckles and the Chaotix crew. Metallix jumps out of the viewer's screen and wastes no time in grabbing Grimer and pulling him back through, simply stating that the Brotherhood has need of him. Robotnik orders Metallix to stop, but the robot is no longer under his control after he and the other members of the Brotherhood broke free and rebelled against their creators. Naturally, this turn of events worries Robotnik. With how powerful Metallix is, he knows they could be capable of anything if they have truly broken free and developed ambitions of their own. Over in the Special Zone, inside Robotnik's old egg fortress, the Metallix begin the next part of their plan. They direct Grimer to a nearby view screen which shows him the Miracle Planet, a strange world which only appears over Mobius for a short time every month. It was once going to be used as an energy source for the original Metallix before Sonic put a stop to those plans. But now, the Brotherhood wants to use the planet and its energy to further their own plans, to make them truly unstoppable. Elsewhere, Sonic is still playing around with the Mr. Blobnik robot, who is now threatening to use his secret weapon. He raises his umbrella, points it at Sonic, and nothing happens. It turns out that he simply forgot to put the batteries in it, so he starts fumbling around trying to put them in. By this time, Sonic has had enough. He's had his fun, and now it's time to end this fight. Sonic begins circling around Blobnik at high speeds. The force shakes him apart until he eventually bursts into a mess of metal and bubbles. Everything seems okay. Amy even finds a kid inside the wreckage of the robot, who is being used to power it. But then, everyone notices that Sonic is missing. They look around, then up, and see him trapped inside one of Blobnik's bubbles. Whatever it's made of, he can't break free from it. Blobnik's head suddenly bursts back to life and flies up into the air towards Sonic. The whole thing was a trick. Blobnik's silly design was used to make everyone lower their guards, a plan which worked perfectly. The Blobnik head grabs the bubble containing Sonic and quickly flies away with it, heading straight towards Citadel Robotnik. A short while later, Sonic, still trapped, stands before Robotnik. Sonic asks what's going to happen to him now, and much to his surprise, Robotnik says he plans to let him go. Naturally, Sonic believes this is some kind of trick. After all, why would they go through all the trouble of capturing him if he's only going to be released? But Robotnik assures Sonic that it's not a trick. Then he reveals that something far worse is on its way. An evil power which threatens them both. He explains about the Brotherhood of Metallix and says that if they can't be stopped, they'll rule all of Mobius, and it will be the end of life as they know it. Robotnik releases Sonic, but even though he's free, he still thinks it must be some sort of elaborate trap, but he decides to go along with it anyway. He asks how many Metallix they're dealing with, but Robotnik can't know for certain, though Robotnik does reveal what he does know, that they've taken control of his old base in the Special Zone, and that they were recently here and kidnapped Grimer. Sonic realises that Robotnik wants him to go and rescue Grimer. He both refuses and laughs in Robotnik's face. But Robotnik explains that Sonic isn't seeing the big picture here. It was Grimer who created the Metallix program, and now they have him, they may use his knowledge to become unstoppable. But that's not all. It seems the Brotherhood has found a way to seal most of the entrances into the Special Zone. The only one which Robotnik knows of that still works is the Star Posts, which for some reason only Sonic can use. Finally, Sonic agrees to go and check things out. At the moment, it's one of the easiest ways out of the Citadel. He begins spinning around the post at high speed, charging it up until it's finally ready. With one last move, Sonic dives towards the post, where it does its job of transporting him into the Special Zone. Sure enough, he arrives in the Special Zone as planned, and begins making his way towards Robotnik's old base, hopping between various floating platforms until he reaches the base's outer shell. When he arrives, he finds a large hole in the base's hull, the same one which Mighty the Armadillo punched open when he was here previously. Sonic makes his way inside and finds the location of what appears to be a huge battle, again the same one caused by Knuckles and the Chaotix crew. Rather than being cautious, Sonic begins searching the base at high speeds, running from room to room for any sign of Metallix. He searches half of the base and finds nothing, but then he runs right into the belly of the beast. The Emperor Metallix and a few of the regular ones are preparing to leave. After they kidnapped Grimer, they forced him to create something simply called the Alpha device. Most of the Metallix army has already departed through the copied Omniviewer onto the Miracle Planet, where they're waiting for their leader to follow with the device. Grimer hands over the device to the Emperor, who immediately begins moving to the copied viewer. Sonic isn't sure what the device does, but he knows enough that he can't let the Metallix keep it. He charges in and surprises the Emperor by snatching it out of his hands. The rest of the Metallix immediately move in to reclaim it. The two smaller robots head over to Sonic and a fight begins. One of the Metallix tries attacking directly, swinging punches at Sonic while Sonic swings a few back. Another one tries sneaking up behind him and fires his primary laser. Sonic notices just in time and grabs the Metallix he's fighting, swinging him in front of the beam, which ends up destroying it. The remaining Metallix swoop in and knock Sonic back, causing him to drop the Alpha device. As the Metallix move in for the kill, Sonic reaches for the pole-like device and swings it at full force towards Metallix, easily smashing it apart. Before Sonic can do anything else, the Metallix Emperor calls to Sonic. He has Grimer clutched tightly in his hands. He says that if Sonic doesn't hand over the device, he will kill the hostage. At first, Sonic laughs and points out that Grimer is his enemy, so why would he hand over the device to save him? But the Emperor points out that Sonic is just a weak creature of flesh and blood. He doesn't have the ruthless nature of a Metallix, which would sacrifice another person in an instant. And that seems to be all it takes for Sonic to give in. He hands over the device and the Emperor continues through the copied viewer onto the Miracle Planet, tossing Grimer back out just before entering the viewer completely. A short while later, back on Mobius, Sonic and the other Freedom Fighters are making their way up the chain which connects Mobius and the Miracle Planet together. You get a bit more information about the chain in these panels. It seems that the links of this chain contain some type of strange magic. The whole thing is hundreds of miles long at the very least, yet this magic will allow people to cross this huge distance in just a couple of hours, and no one really knows how it works. Personally, I think this was just an excuse for the writers to allow the Freedom Fighters and other people to cross the chain. I can understand Sonic making the trip so quickly, but they needed some kind of reason to let the rest of them get up there, so they simply said, "It's magic!" The computer which Porker is carrying begins beeping, and Sonic tells him that it must be Robotnik. After dropping Grimer off, he gave them access to their communication channels. Everyone else is shocked to say the least. It's crazy to give their sworn enemy access to any of their stuff. Sonic knows though that they may have to work together to fight this new threat. Robotnik pops up on screen, clearly annoyed that Sonic brought Grimer back to him instead of taking him with them to the Miracle Planet. He knows the Metallix better than anyone, so he would be one of the best hopes of stopping them. Sonic tells Robotnik that he doesn't want any of his lackeys snooping around while they're on their mission, so at best Robotnik and Grimer will have to provide information from a distance. As they approach the planet, they see all of the Metallix gathered in a circle, using their own energy to charge the Alpha device, which is almost ready to be activated. One of the Metallix detects lifeforms approaching the group. It seems the Freedom Fighters won't have the element of surprise anymore. The Emperor sends a smaller Metallix to take care of the problem. He obeys and sets off to kill the intruders. Sonic and the rest of the gang finally reach the planet and hop down off the chain. Sonic recalls the last time he was stuck on the planet with Amy. He spent a good deal of time exploring, mainly to keep away from Amy, who was annoying him. He remembers a large system of tunnels which stretch around the area for miles. He knows the Metallix will be coming after them, and thinks everyone will stand a better chance in the tunnels, since he knows his way around and the Metallix could easily get lost. Johnny hears something coming towards them, and everyone hides. Sure enough, it's the Metallix that was sent after them. Hiding does them no good, as the Metallix uses its sensors to detect their life signs. As soon as it's locked onto them, it fires its laser and destroys their hiding spot, while the blast knocks everyone else back. Johnny leaps into action, deciding that he needs to take the Metallix out before it can recharge its laser. He swings his staff at the robot, but Metallix easily catches it, snatches it away, and effortlessly snaps it in half before using what's left of it to knock Johnny away. Once Johnny is down, Metallix moves in for the kill. It lifts one half of the broken staff and prepares to skewer the rabbit with it. But just as he starts to thrust the staff forward, Sonic leaps into action with a spin attack, temporarily staggering the robot. Sonic tells Amy to fire her crossbow at the Metallix's neck. According to Robotnik, it's the one weak point, which is strange since people have defeated them in plenty of other ways in the past which didn't involve the neck. Plus, if Robotnik knew about this weak point before, why didn't he find a way to secure it while the Metallix was still working for him? In any case, Amy fires the arrow directly at the robot's neck and instantly defeats it. It falls into a lifeless heap, but Amy realises there's too many of them outside the tunnels to take them all out in this way. Though, Sonic seems to have already come up with a plan of action. Up above, outside the tunnels, the rest of the Brotherhood are finished up charging up the Alpha device. All that's left is to activate it. The Metallix Emperor throws the device, which digs into the ground, and within moments it begins converting the surrounding greenery into machinery. Wires and tubes sprout up out of the ground and begin spreading out, converting more of the area as they go along. If it isn't stopped soon, it could very well transform the entire planet. Suddenly, another Metallix approaches, bringing Sonic, Amy and Johnny along as prisoners. Though it does seem strange that the Emperor doesn't find this suspicious. Surely if Sonic and the others were found, they would have been killed rather than taken prisoner. But the Emperor tells the smaller Metallix to rejoin the others while Sonic states that he'll find some way to stop them. It's now that the villain reveals their entire plans to the good guys. According to the Emperor, the plan is to transform the entire planet into a source of near unlimited power. Once the conversion is complete, they'll build an even bigger army and return to invade Mobius. Only now does the Emperor realise that something is wrong. There were 4 life signs earlier, yet there's only 3 prisoners. As soon as he asks where the 4th member of their crew is, Sonic puts his plan into action. He grabs the others and runs away as fast as he can, calling out to Porker, who is hidden a short distance away. As soon as everyone has cleared the area, Porker presses a button on a remote device, and with one huge boom, the Metallix explodes with enough force to take out the rest of the Brotherhood with it. The Freedom Fighters regroup and start to celebrate, glad that their plan actually worked. But then, Johnny calls out to them. It seems that even though the Metallix have been defeated, the Alpha device is still converting the planet, and will continue to do so unless they can find some way to deactivate it. Porker takes a look at the device, but realises that it's been booby-trapped. If he makes a mistake, the whole device could blow, and with the power that it now has, it could end up taking the whole planet with it. He has no choice though, and gets to work trying to stop the device. He manages to get around the traps and sets it to discharge all of the collected energy safely. The group don't have time to stick around and make sure that it works though. As Sonic turns his attention to Mobius, he notices the planet is starting to become faint. The Miracle Planet is starting to disappear, and if they don't get off it, they'll be trapped for a whole month until it reappears over Mobius again. They all agree that with the threat gone, they can leave the planet and come back next month to make sure that everything has worked out. Everyone hurries to the chain which links the two planets and starts heading back home. But as Porker turns back to take another look at the Miracle Planet, he sees the remains of the Metallix Emperor dragging itself over to the Alpha device, and with a few quick adjustments, the device is reactivated, and the Emperor finally collapses into a pile of scrap. Porker realises that if he doesn't do something, the whole planet could be transformed by the time it reappears next month. So he turns back and tries to deactivate the device once again. By the time the others notice, it's already too late. The planet is too faint and could vanish at any moment. Porker manages to make it onto the planet, but before the others can follow, it disappears completely. They can do nothing now but hope that Porker succeeds, and wait until next month to go and rescue him. But if all goes well, it means the world has been saved from a threat more dangerous than even Robotnik could have dreamed of.